Hello, everybody, and welcome to Virtual Bourbon. My name is Steve Akley. We have a fun event tonight. We're going to be talking to the team from J.K. Williams in Peoria, Illinois, and they're going to be telling us about their whiskey, telling us about their brand history, and telling us, and we're going to be, of course, the best part is we'll be sampling some of that. So it should be cool stuff. With that, now I'd like to introduce Andy and Jeff from J.K. Williams. How you guys doing?
Doing well, Steve. Thank you. Cheers to you. Thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. It's fun times. And we'll drink some. But before we get to that, I want to know just a little bit of background because Andy, tell us what you were doing before you got involved and bought J.K. Williams. Tell us a little bit.
I was a networking guru. I was in the IT. I sold networking equipment, Cisco, Juniper, and I kind of pioneered fiber optic transceivers into the cable TV industry. And so that was my background, and I kind of burned out after about 30 years, and started thinking about this in about 2015, and this opportunity presented itself in 2017. It fizzled out a couple of times, and then my wife and I acquired the distillery in April 2019.
Okay.
And just with an idea of reimagining the brand outside of what it was originally. There were two Williams brothers, great grandsons of distiller and prohibition bootlegger J.K. Williams was a real guy.
Okay.
And we thought, there's a great history here. It's a legit story, and the history of Peoria distilling really led us to take a shot at this and try to revive a little bit of that history and a little bit of the bourbon and rye and other whiskey production that came out of here prior to Prohibition. And so, a little known fact: people don't look at me in disbelief. Peoria was the whiskey capital of the world until 1920. So we had total in cumulative sense, we had 73 distilleries over time. Including the Great Western Distillery, which was the world's largest, followed by post-Prohibition, Hiram Walker opened the world's largest distillery here in 1933, and it's still standing. Mm-hmm. So we're trying to revive, and everything we do has a little bit of a nod to the past with, I would call it, a contemporary twist to what we do.
Yeah, I think that is, as you mentioned, it's hard for people to believe because when we think about American whiskey, it all comes to one place for most of us, and that's Kentucky. But in reality, there was other places that really had a strongholds on whiskey production as well. Cincinnati has a great history. My own St. Louis was strong.
Indeed.
But But it's amazing to think about. But where Kentucky really did things is after Prohibition, they got up and running and kept going and really got to the point where we're at today. So that's really cool. Andy, how long had the distillery been open? So you're talking about you bought an existing place.
2012. So it was built it was built as a boutique distillery and really without any vision for any large expansion of any kind. So when we acquired it, I said, let's just reimagine this brand as bigger than what it is. And we went about just coming up with a plan and trying to execute on that. That was, let's stick to the roots of what the original recipes were. We also bought an existing inventory, which was incredible at the time.
Right.
Almost a couple hundred barrels of whiskey. And we got the benefit of an extra couple, 2, 3, 4, 5 years of aging on some of those. And so when people say, well, what you're working through that existing inventory, what have you done? And I said, well, we let it age. We just let it age longer. Right. And interestingly, it was all in 23 and 30 gallon barrels. So Jeff had some concerns about over oaking. But it's worked out pretty well. These have turned out. We knew it was decent base juice. It just needed a little extra age. So
Okay. Andy, one more question for you before we talk to Jeff Murphy, your master distiller there, and get a little bit of his history. We'll do that in just a second. But the last question I got for you, tell us a little bit, in 2019, it's a great time to buy into bourbon. Things are exploding. It's getting more and more popular each and every year. And, it seems to be like a no-brainer. It has to be a win, right? But then, the thing that we know now with the benefit of hindsight, something you couldn't have foreseen as you purchased the distillery. COVID happens the next year, 2020, 2021. How did that impact what you guys were doing? And tell us a little bit about that.
It was really a near impossible time.
Yeah.
The big distributors were shedding brands. They were furloughing employees. You can go everyone from Breakthrough to R&DC. All the big guys, the small guys were laying off people. It was an awful time, and really no one wanted to have a conversation with us.
Right.
And it's really simple. What is this small distillery going to do for us as a distributor? But we managed to cobble together a really great network of distribution in Illinois and Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
We're launching with Lippman Brothers in Tennessee. They're the original distributors for Jack Daniels, and still to this day in Nashville, Chattanooga, and Knoxville. So we're very excited about that. They've got a very great plan attached to that. And so it's just kind of a lot of perseverance. And, there were some dark days in there, I won't lie, about are we going to make it, or should we even make it? Or should we just pull the plug on this whole thing? Because COVID was, we're not the only ones.
Right.
That suffered through this. A lot of places went under, sold their equipment, a lot of restaurants, a lot of hospitality related industry. So I only empathize with them because we went through it ourselves. And we hung in there and just tried to stick it out.
Yeah.
And Jeff has really been the mastermind on the distilling, blending side, and what should we bring out, when should we bring it out. And so, kudos to Jeff on that plan. I call myself the front of house man. I know a fair bit, but to be dangerous, but Jeff is really the wizard behind the curtain. And that's really helped us get through in terms of what are we releasing, when, what's the proof, what should it be, what taste, what's the sweet spot for that proof. And so you'll get a little glimpse tonight, and when we send you our Black Zephyr, you'll get another sense of what that could be with a couple extra years of aging, and just how caramely and dark that is. And so we really, that was the plan. I couldn't have done this, myself for sure.
Yeah. Congratulations to you, Jeff, and the entire team. I know it takes a whole team to do this, but you're talking about a time when a win is just being able to pay your bills. I mean, that's a huge win during COVID, and to be able to do the things that you do and expand, that's really great. So again, my hat's off to you guys for sure.
Thank you.
Before we start tasting some whiskey, let's talk a little bit to Jeff. Tell us your background before you came to J.K. Williams. What were you doing?
So my background's a little bit broad. I started homebrewing back in the mid-90s when I was in the Navy as a corpsman, and then I became a police officer in Maryland, where I started homebrewing even more as a stress reliever, just as a get out the thing, right? So, and then my wife is still in the Navy, and they said, well, you got to go someplace. So we ended up going to Singapore, and then in Singapore, I became a professional brewer over there. That's where I got my start in the professional industry as a brewer for Asia Pacific breweries over there, and their craft side of the house, Archipelago. And then we came back to the U.S. from Singapore to Texas. I started doing, got into distilling at Rebecca Creek, doing whiskey and rectified vodka. And then rum's my passion, so I went to privateer in Massachusetts for a year. And then after a year up there, I came down to Louisiana Spirits in Lacassine, Louisiana, doing Bayou rum down there for 8 years. And then with COVID and everything else, Andy and I hooked up, and I came up here to, like Andy was saying, the history of Peoria outside of before Prohibition is very broad, and people don't know that. Even outside of Kentucky, they don't know that. So, the history got me involved in it. Love the history. The J.K. Williams, the man himself, was a real guy. And when it came up, I'm like, let me taste the juice. If they're doing everything right, I have something to work with. If not, there'll be some issues. And the juice is great. The guys were doing a great job before that. Jesse Williams was the distiller before, and they're doing a good job. And really, it comes down to building a brand from a place. Like a lot of things that go on right now is I just want a bourbon brand. We'll make something up and we'll just run with it. But here, there's a history, there's a man behind the name, and everything else. So part of my goal is what I want to do is to make Illinois, J.K. Williams, the Jim Beam and Jack Daniels of Illinois. That's kind of right. So I mean, it's getting outside of that realm. There's places that do that outside of in every state. For Illinois, I want it to be us. So. But basically, my Irish trifecta is went from treating drunks to arresting drunks to getting people drunk. That's my Irish trifecta.
There you go. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but it's the goal here is it's fun. We're going to have a good time with it. That's always been the goal. Okay. So it's not about him or I. It's just about the brand and just having a good time with it.
Yeah. Well, what we want to do is we want to break up, the conversation with tasting. So let's do our first one. Now I'm going to ask you guys, because normally we just, it's not automatic. We go by proof, but you have the first two are the same proof. You've got 290 proofers in the Stormy River and the Gold Zephyr. And then the Bridge series is 94. Do you guys have a preference as to what should go first?
I would do the Bridge series first.
Okay.
And then we'll do the bourbon and then leave the rye for the last.
Okay. Yep. We'll do it like that. So everybody, if you haven't, please grab the Bridge series. That's what we're going to start out with. And we'll do the normal thing that we do. We'll help provide, some nosing and tasting notes. So if you've participated in any of our tastings, we'll do that exact same thing. You can start out by putting that in the chat function, and we'll share those as we go. And of course, at the end, we'll save time, of course, for question and answer, where you guys can ask any questions that you have for Andy Faris as the owner, or Jeff Murphy as the distiller, any questions you've got. As we start to nose this thing, Jeff, what can we expect here? What are we thinking with the Bridge series?
So the Bridge series was originally, Andy bought, aged spirits already, right? So the Bridge series was supposed to bridge the gap between what we were producing now, because there was about a 3-year gap of no production, and the bourbon and the rye are both at 4 years. So the Bridge series is going to be a rotating series of what we can either blend in house with source product or 100% source product. The Bridge series batch one that you guys are tasting now is a blend of a 95% wheat whiskey from MGP. Okay. Our biggest thing is we're just upfront with everything. And so it's 16 barrels of that and 16 barrels of our wheated bourbon as well. So, and that's where, we came up with the Bridge series. So this is batch one. Batch two might be a little bit different. It might be secondary aged, might be something different, but the cleanliness of this, I proof stuff for flavor, not for volume. So this is at 94. But if you get in there, you get those notes of the wheat, a little bit of grass, a little bit of honey.
Yeah, your notes you've already got coming in on the nose is warm buttered biscuits, honey biscuits, right on with what you're just saying, grassy, some cherry pipe tobacco on the nose as well.
Yep, cherry pipe, yep, cherry, yep.
Honey and vanilla, also good ones.
So my process of making products, and Andy is like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, got to find the sweet spot, right? So the minimum for whiskeys is 80 proof, whether it's bourbon, rye, wheat, whatever you guys want to do. 80 proof is the minimum in the United States. And then you have barrel proof, whether the proof goes up in aging or down in aging, it really just depends. So my process when I make a product, or when we want to develop a product, is I take it from, I do serial dilutions. I take it from barrel proof and I, cut it by 10 all the way down to 80. And then I find, okay, this is too oaky or not enough oak, or it's just kind of bitter. It's over diluted. This would be the same thing if we put an ice cube in it, let it sit for 20 minutes type stuff. And then we just kind of move the scale around a little bit to find that sweet spot, whether the proof ends up being 108 or 98 or 96 or 86. It really just depends on where the flavor of the product comes through, where I imagine that the consumer will like it.
Mhm. And what sort of proof drops do you do? Do you start at barrel strength, of course, and then you drop it down to, or how are you tasting it each one, or how you getting the different proofs? Or you just randomly and then being like, okay, what's the proof here? Because I like this one. Just adding some water randomly, or how do you do it?
No, so basically, just like we're doing a barrel pick for the local Air National Guard group out here. So today that came out at 119 out of the barrel. So I do 119, I'll do 110, 190, and we'll go from there. And I'll see, okay, well, there's sweetness here, it's bitter here. So maybe we take out the 80 and the 90 and we move up to 100 to 110. So I'll take the 110 to 100 and I'll do 105 and maybe 107, 103 and see where, is there a sweet spot in there? Is there flavor? Is there some sweetness or some oak that comes out that's more prominent than other proofs, and then we'll move it from side to side, because in the end, I mean, alcohol is like water. The alcohol brings the flavor to our palate, just like water does for everything else. So depending upon where that note is that you want to bring forward is what we're looking for.
Yeah. Another comment here, last one on the nose, and we're going to give this thing a taste. Honey, wheat, bread crust. I like that. Black tea. Jason Souter said that I definitely get tea notes on this for sure. So pretty heavy on that, actually. And then he's got light leather and tobacco. So that's great. It's great on the nose for sure. So let's try this. Cheers, everyone. Let's give this a taste. Yeah, that's very nice. Boy, that is good. You do get kind of a wheat bread taste in there, but it's kind of sweet and it kind of follows along the whole palate, the sweetness, and nice 94 proof, nice warm finish on there. Kind of not overwhelming, but just a nice amount of heat across the palate, which is nice.
We hadn't entered this into anything. It came out in October. It was a new release, and we said we need to get this into a couple of competitions to see what happens. And so, well, we've been pleasantly surprised. We got a double gold at San Francisco.
Wow.
We received a platinum at Minix Ascot Awards for this. And then we got at the SIP Awards, we got a best in class for this. So this was really interesting. And I never have any expectations. Because you never know,
right?
You may get shut out and not get anything.
Yeah,
we were I'm really pleasantly surprised. I said, these are national. This is national recognition on this. So it was really cool, and it is a blend. But I think what's kind of cool about this is that ratio of that MGP wheat mixed in with our American whiskey comes out with this wonderful American wheat whiskey, and here we have it, and it ends up being a delightful product.
Yeah.
And Jeff, you're right. Or not Jeff, Jason, the graham cracker, there's a little bit of graham cracker in there as well.
Yeah.
So, correct.
100 grams, ginger notes. Mr. Bill says I like it. By the way, that's his highest rating. So
good.
Congratulations on that. Add that, Andy, to your list of awards right there. So you've got.
I'm just going to put it on there.
I like it. Mr. Bill. So yeah. Sweet, get the graham crackers as well from Jason Wickel. So both Jasons are feeling that. Honey sweet without being honey sweet, which that makes sense. So honey sweet without being.
We're looking for a balance.
Yeah. That's very good. Excellent. Well, this one is a winner. Maybe you guys messed up here. Maybe you threw the best one at us, and we'll see. So we'll get to the other ones in just a second here. But this is a great start. You guys are killing it right now.
Thank you. That's a blend. We're getting to the true stuff, true J.K.
Okay.
Williams stuff right now. So
Okay.
I think we're going to the bourbon next.
Excellent. So a couple of questions though before we get to the next one. So just want to ask, about the distillery itself. Tell us a little bit about the equipment that you use, because we're whiskey geeks, whiskey nerds. So we like stuff like those are the type of questions we have. We like to know about barrels and stills and all that kind of stuff.
Andy, you want to start?
Yeah, the original, the Williams brothers, John and Jesse, were almost entirely 23-gallon barrels.
Mm-hmm.
They had some 30s. The 30s held up the best over time.
Yeah.
And I know what they were trying to do in the early days with, advanced aging and all that, but I don't know about any of that. I think what the end result is the 30s were, I think, the best barrels out of any of the ones that came out of the old inventory. And the equipment, when we talk small batch, and we don't put it on there lightly, I know some of these giant distilleries say small batch, and it may be 13,000 gallons small batch. But we are legitimately the smallest batch you've ever heard of. It was a 60-gallon pot still that they distilled everything on.
Wow.
So
for 5 years.
Gallon, and then they had a 120 that they never commissioned that we have now commissioned. So we've got 180 gallons of total capacity here with a 240 gallon cooker. And it's just, we've been waiting. We ordered in January 2021 our new 1,000-gallon pot still and system from ABE.
Wow. That's a big step up. Yeah. Congrats.
It's now coming this month.
It's coming. All right. Here we go. Get ready.
Oh, it's only a year and a half late.
A year and a half later. And so supply chain, blah, blah, blah. I don't know, but we've been kind of plodding along. And what we decided to do is we did some production along the way. We've put some whiskey in barrels, but we really thought, until we get that big system, we'll crank that thing up. We'll be doing, instead of a couple barrels a month, we'll be doing 10 to 12 barrels a week.
Yeah.
That's where we're heading. That's the expansion kind of vision up here, that we get into a little bit more of the real production schedule where, you're really laying down quite a few barrels every year.
And when he says real, we're still very small in the craft industry side of things.
Yeah.
So, 10 to 12 barrels a week is pretty good, but still pretty small. And
we still craft. I think the main thing is just, most distributors want to know what's the plan. How are you going to supply in the future? And so this has been a question. We've been waiting on this equipment for so long. So we're really excited to get that in here and get into a full production schedule. So
Jeff, that's going to make your life easier, I would assume. You got to be working like a dog with 180 gallons total.
Yeah. So basically it takes me 2 weeks to fill 153-gallon barrel.
Yeah.
For the most part. So, and actually a lot of what we've been doing for the last 6 months have been more of blending and making new products and trying to create that system, because I can catch up on that. On the new system, I can catch up in 2 months for an entire year. So that's kind of where that's going. And at the same time, you have to realize that, really, it's just Andy and I here. Andy and I are the only two guys here doing this stuff. So, I'm either bottling or blending, or Andy got kicked out of bottling a long time ago.
Very quickly from bottling. I've never been fired so quickly. I've never been fired.
He's got a lazy eye, so the labels were always crooked. So, I think it was on purpose, but you never know.
Well, sure. That's what I would do. Yeah.
You put one label on upside down and you get tagged with that for the rest of your life.
Yeah. You can't escape that thing. Yeah. So that's got to be exciting. And the barrels, we've talked a lot about barrels, the 23 and 30 gallon barrels. Are you guys, what are you doing now? Are you doing 53s or something else?
So I think, I mean, we're going to do 53s, move to
When you get to
53s.
the big system,
Yeah, it's a big system, but I think we'll maintain some 30s, just to have some fun. I got a big background in rum, which is my favorite spirit. So I'll start doing some rum as well, and we'll use the 30s for that also. But I mean, the 30s are kind of like the mid grade, and we'll probably get a little bit better extract and aging out of that overall from the 53s. And the 53s are going to be the long-term stuff, right? So a lot of our stuff will go into 30s to start, and then we'll do 53s for the long-term stuff. But yeah, it's going to be a combination of barrel 53, Kelvin cooperage. We got some other people that are out there that are doing stuff like that too, small. But I mean, the barrel industry right now is insane, as you guys probably know.
Right.
So I mean, when we were buying it, we could buy a 53-gallon barrel for $260. 8 months ago, it's now $340.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Do we need any more challenges?
the price
Yeah.
of bourbon has definitely gone up. And the price of trying to get this off the ground has definitely gone up as well. So it's challenged, nonetheless.
Yeah. Grains are a challenge. Glass is a challenge.
Glass
Corks
is
are a
definitely-
challenge. Yeah.
Glass is definitely a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah.
So-
Are you guys okay on that? Did you order
We lucked out. I mean, we ordered. Our bottles are all Vitro Elite from Italy. We lucked out. We had 2 orders placed last year of 8 or 10 pallets, and it's carried us through the.
And thankfully, our salesperson said, "Well, I went ahead and added 20% to last year's order, and we should have the glass."
Yeah, so we're covered this year, but I mean, some people are really struggling out there with that. So I think we've got that piece covered. Barrels going up in price so much is a challenge, but it's just I was actually asking someone about I was asking someone on the hospitality industry. They own a restaurant. I said, "Are you passing on your base food costs to the consumer?" And they said, "Yes, we are. We're passing on a sandwich that was $10, 6 months ago is now 13. So they've instituted 30% increases. I don't know how that flies in the whiskey world.
Right. It's so weird, right? Because you're incurring higher costs now, but you're talking about a product that you'll be selling years down the road.
Right.
So yeah, how do you fix that situation? I mean,
one of those
hang on,
reasons-
buckle up, buttercup, and
right, right.
But that's why you make rum. It's in secondary barrels.
Mhm.
So you dump the barrels of bourbon or rye, whatever you're using, you fill it back up with rum or an agave spirit or something else, and then you just reuse those barrels again, and that keeps your costs down a little bit. You're offsetting those to a certain extent. So from my aspect of it, that's how my thinking of trying to recoup those costs of higher barrels.
Yeah, that's definitely a challenge.
Can we move on to the bourbon?
Yes, so that's our next one is the Zephyr, right? The Gold Zephyr is your bourbon. Yep. So that's the one you should be opening up, folks. Let's get that one going.
So I will say, I'll preface this with for the bourbon and rye. So as a distiller, you have 70% of the flavor profile is the barrel. 30% is the raw materials that went into it. So it goes across whether it's tequila, rum, brandy, whatever it is, bourbon. So these are all small barrels. A lot of them are Black Swan, and with their honeycomb style and everything else. But this is a nice 4 and 5-year-old. I mean, we had probably
look at the color there. The first thing you see is the color. The color is fantastic. Yeah,
and it's largely unfiltered. I mean, we do some filtration.
We minimally filter stuff, like 10-micron filter is all we do.
Yeah.
So
I'm liking the legs that you see running down the glass too. I mean, this is there's some great indicators here that we're going to be in for a real treat. So that's good.
There's a lot of cherry notes in this too.
That's what I like. The tart cherries is what I was thinking. I mean, yeah. Mr. Bill says grapes, gingerbread is out there. Grape bubble gum. Yeah, there you go. wood, maybe maple wood specifically, dried orange, cherry cola, toffee, peanuts.
I love cherry cola. Damn it.
Maple.
Like cherry
I
cola
come
too.
up with that
Yeah.
one myself.
That's a good one. Mhm.
So the mash bill on this one is 80% corn, 10% wheat, and 10% barley.
Mhm.
So, and even right now, we're sourcing all of our corn locally because this is the Corn Belt in Illinois.
Yeah.
So we get it all from Unzicker Farms. It's a family-owned farm in Morton, Illinois. And I get the cob in there and everything. So I got to pick cob out as I'm milling it in and everything else. So, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, I like it's number 2 dent. But at the same time too, they're like, when the big system's there, they'll plant, 100 acres of whatever heirloom variety you want.
Right.
So that'll be some fun to deal with too. So part of the deal that we did with the Williams brothers was that we keep the recipes the same. So with this new system that's coming on, the old system will become the R&D batch. So we'll be able to do some small batch stuff off of that. Rum, different. We'll do if we want to do a different mash bill, we'll test it on that first and then move it up to the big system as well. And in the end, that's really what you want going into aging, because you want these different mash bills going into aging. So on the blending standpoint, when you come back into it, when it's ready, you have more crayons to draw with, so to speak. So that's my mentality on it. So the more
And
things I
that's-
can put in the back,
And
better
Steve,
off.
I don't know what you see out there, but it was an interesting comment from, there was a kind of whiskey reporter from the Wisconsin Journal, Milwaukee Journal, pardon me.
Yeah.
Who said 80% corn. Is this like Illinois style bourbon? And I said, no, it's just the original. We've just kept to the original mash bill.
Yeah.
But I think it is interesting. I see a lot of, when I look out there at this, particularly MGP, what's out in the market, you see a lot of 65% and whatever, and maybe some rye in there. So 80% maybe is a little higher corn content, but I think it brings through a sweetness. And we just had the Illinois Corn Marketing Board here, as I mentioned earlier here. And I think there is something there about the high corn content brings through some sweetness here that I quite enjoy.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I can't wait to taste it. I've been nosing it, and it's one of those deals, very complex on the nose. I get a little something different every time. I mean, the last one I was like, boy, that's pie crust on the nose there. So get a little something different every time, which is always exciting. It's a good indicator, but it all comes down to this taste. So here we go. Cheers,
Right.
gang.
Right.
Here's
Taste
guys.
number 2. All right.
Dave and Adina, you guys sound like you had some comments. You guys were looking at each other, and no, you guys good? Go off mute.
All good.
Yeah.
She's the one that
Look
came
at
up with
each other.
the cherry cola note on the nose, and then she said the cherry carries through to the finish a bit too.
Mm-hmm.
The cherry is definitely there, and I think you'll see that going into even the rye, because the barrel really dictates, and they're using the same barrels on everything before. So that's why moving forward, we're going with different barrels from different locations, from Barrel 53 out of Missouri to guys out of Kentucky. We're trying to do different aspects and different toasts and chars, and trying to give different flavor profiles. But you'll see a similarity in the rye, but you'll taste the rye difference moving forward. So
Nice. So yeah, tart cherries coming through, a bit of smoke, says Keith. So yeah, I get the tart cherries for sure on the taste, just like I did on the nose. So
I get a
That's
little
definitely-
the smokiness too, like
Mhm.
Keith said.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. What else are you guys getting on the taste? Brown sugar candy. That sounds pretty darn good from Mr. Gas Camp. What else are you guys noting there?
as a cigar smoker, there's definitely a little bit of leather and tobacco in the background as well, but that's just what I get from a cigar smoker as well. So
Yeah.
the cherry definitely comes out on top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You're right. Maybe like one of those
Tough, yeah.
Swisher Sweets, the cherry cigars, because it kind
Yes,
of
yeah.
has.
Now,
It has
don't go
some of
that,
that
don't go that low.
Hey,
The road
we all-
hard and put away wet leather. Yes,
yeah. We
so,
all started somewhere, right?
That's
Who
right.
didn't have some of those? Back in the day. Wet leather would make a good old fashioned, says Melanie or Neil.
It does. It makes a great old fashioned.
Yes.
Yeah, I could see that. It would
Yep.
definitely stand up. So yeah, that's what you're always looking for.
And that's why we did it 90 proof too. So a lot of the things that we do is how will this. So when we do stuff, we decide on proof. We do cocktails with it as well. How is this going to stand up?
Mhm.
You know, stuff like that. So you don't want to get lost. You don't want to get lost in the cherry juice or whatever it is. You still want to taste the spirit in there, but it's not you want the spirit as the main, but not the overbearing type spirit in it. So
I agree, Jeff. I was at a distillery, I won't name the name, and they brought out the maple syrup and they were mixing all sorts of stuff in there. And I said, I just want it neat. I want to taste what it is before it goes into this concoction that you're making. And no offense, I just want to see what is the base product. And
you don't need to add bacon. You don't need to add anything to it.
you don't need to add any artificial flavoring. I like to see what it is. And I'm not saying, man, I love maple syrup, but I'm not sure I want. Anyway.
Yeah. Just a quick update. This in via private message here from my buddy Brad Baum, I went to high school with. He's not a bourbon drinker. He says he's already feeling a buzz. Two samples in, and get this. I forgot about this. I should have announced this up front just so you guys knew. I feel bad that I've had you in this event and I didn't warn you that he's a Tito's drinker. Who drinks Tito's, for gosh sakes? He definitely needs some work. Tito's.
Hey, wait, I'm from Texas. Come on.
Our vodka is
That's
sourced.
embarrassing.
Our vodka is sourced just as Tito's is as well, and ours is better.
I do a lot of embarrassing things, so this is okay. But I seriously, holy cow.
If you're defending Tito's, I want to know why
I am not
on their
defending Tito's.
you did. You jumped in and defended them. So now you're gonna have to answer a question. Why do they show on their label?
They're
Does
on
it
the
show it going into a barrel? It shows it coming off a pot still into a barrel. I don't understand. It's vodka. It
If
doesn't go
no human hands ever touch that vodka.
So here's the thing. So
Yes.
Keith rides a bike. I ride a bike too, but I only ride the bike. I don't work on it. I drink Tito's. I don't care how it gets to my mouth.
Hey, I know.
If I
Brad.
knew a mechanic, I hire one. Who's got the Tito's there?
Brad, there it is. Brad, I lived in Texas. I lived in Dallas for 2.5 years, and it's ubiquitous down there. Tito's and soda rolls off the tongue very nicely. Tito's martini rolls off the tongue very nicely.
Yeah.
It's easy to remember, but everyone drinks it there. There's
Yes.
no question.
So here's what I'm learning tonight. This is good. And it's a lot cheaper than Tito's because I can drink that handle and not feel like I feel now. So one of these and I'm set. That's it. What's
There you
that?
go.
An ounce?
There you go.
Steve, just
2 ounces.
Yeah.
2 ounces. Sorry.
think of that label as not a barrel. It's a piece of PVC taking it somewhere else. I don't know. It's a good
That's
point.
a barrel to me. I don't. No way. That's a barrel. Look at that thing. Show
Brad-
that on the
Bradley,
camera.
we'll send
Show
you
it
a
on the
vodka,
camera.
Bradley.
That's a barrel.
We'll
It's
send you
got
a different
hoops and
vodka,
everything.
Bradley.
It's got hoops.
Don't a bottle of whiskey?
No, vodka.
Oh no, don't do that. Don't do that. I'm already in trouble. I don't need to be in more trouble. Come on.
So all right. Well, we got to give Brad credit. It does all these Iron Man events and all this stuff. I'm definitely not doing that. So you can make fun of me there. All right. Looks like a trash can.
Tipped over the trash can. What was that?
Kind of.
Could be.
Yeah.
It could be.
Seems oddly appropriate. All right.
I had to text Steve before this and say, should I bring 3 glasses? Should I bring ice?
He needed instructions.
You better bring ice. You better bring ice because you're a rookie. I'm like, okay, I'll bring ice. So I brought some ice.
Yeah.
Tim, that's awesome.
I'm just glad to be here.
He's just glad to
To
be here.
me, this is educational. I love to
Kill
learn.
Tim.
Yeah, I love to learn. And you guys are making me realize
How exciting it is. There's a lot here, man.
Again, I appreciate this. This
There's
is
a lot
awesome.
to it.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's great. Thank you.
Yeah.
So let's step up to rye. You guys want to go rye? Ready for rye?
Yes. Yes.
All right. So we'll go to the rye. See if you want to put that up there so you know what they're drinking.
Yes.
So
Yeah,
this-
be sure this is the right one. If this is not what you're drinking now, you've messed
Yep,
up somewhere along
That's
the
where
line.
we're
This is
going to.
Stormy River.
So rye whiskey is, obviously it's, if you go between, we had the wheat, the bourbon and the rye. So wheat's 51% wheat, bourbon's 51% corn, rye is 51% rye, blah, 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 everything else. So with the rye that we're having now, this is 90% rye
Hey, right.
and 10% wheat, or sorry, 10% barley. So this is a very different product off these stills and also off the out of the barrels.
Yeah.
I was very impressed with this product when I started tasting it when I came up here. It's also at 90 proof. But you want to talk about cherry, you want to talk about a little bit of sourdough bread, that's all in there. You get all that stuff. Actually, I think this has higher tobacco notes than the bourbon does.
I'm in love with this nose, man. This is that's good.
Yeah, this is one of those that in our tasting room, it's one that people go, that was my favorite over there. Or they
Yeah.
say, or they leave some in the glass and go, I didn't care for it, because it's got that rye, it's just rye forward, it's right in your face, but it's not that spicy,
Wow.
rye that punches you in the
Not
face.
at all.
So I
No.
think
I'm getting the cherry. It's like remember those old cherry Hostess pies?
Yes.
That's what I'm getting. That's what I'm getting,
You're
man.
not that old.
Yeah.
I am that old.
But I mean, the text coming through or the messages coming through, they're all correct on this stuff. It really
Right.
depends on.
Raisin cedar.
Yep.
Yeah. Pulling caraway spice, green apple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Caraway. Thank you, whoever said that.
Yeah. No dill notes, which is great.
Dill is bad.
Yeah, dill is bad. Cleaning your tubs properly. Oh, there's a kudos from Tim. He just did your work evaluation there, so you're good now. Tim has
No pickles
signed
in
off
this.
on your progress report. Thanks, Dad.
So this last year from Fred Minnick won a gold medal as well.
Nice.
So it's had several gold medals and platinums and everything else. So this was the
class
surprise
also had the
because-
SIP awards last year for Rise. We beat everyone in the country with this. Last
But
Really?
this was the surprise because we're like, okay, well, this is the least amount of product that we have in house, but the awards that it started winning was like, okay, well, now everyone wants this stuff and we only have so much.
Right.
So,
Right.
that's
Yeah, our bourbon was selling 3-1. And it all of a sudden the rye started winning. We got named one of the best 15 ryes in the country. And then I don't know, all of a sudden I was like, shit, we're in some trouble. We were gonna run out of this. And so, but it's carried through, and we've allocated it just because we just don't have that much left. We make it really distillery only, except in special cases. But you can still find it in the market, particularly in Illinois with Benny's or whomever. You can still ask for it, and you'll probably get it.
and really what we're doing now is actually the challenge. So whereas when you're starting a distillery and you're either buying spirits or starting making it from scratch, you have to bring in some vodka or some gin or everything else or some rum to offset that, waiting for it to age. We had some aging product already in-house, and now that's why the Bridge series is there to bridge that gap as well. So it's definitely a different aspect of where most people come in from the industry, as far as I'm just going to buy it and bottle it while we're aging our own stuff. This is stuff that we have in-house and that we're able to do now, and we're gonna have to have a gap for 2 or 3 year gap on that stuff as well. So, but yeah,
Okay.
this is a nice surprise as far as ryes go.
Yeah. Yeah. You got lemongrass, lemon zest, graham crackers, which I get a lot of different things, from like the bakery on this for some reason, which is different for most ryes.
And almost a baker's rye.
Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting.
I feel like I'm in a bread shop.
Mhm. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I get that. That's not that normal when you're talking about rice.
So, like I
let's-
said, a
yeah.
lot of it goes back to they're using the same barrels for the bourbon and the rye.
Mhm.
Get some same tasting notes, but however, for the rye, they were actually getting the rye. So rye doesn't grow in Illinois, maybe
Right.
northern Illinois at the most.
Maybe
So,
northern. Yeah. It's
yeah,
got to be
maybe
cold.
northern
Got to
at
be
the
cold.
most. Yeah, got to be cold.
Yeah.
So, but they were getting it from a bakery shop originally. So when they closed down and we bought it, and I was going back trying to do these things, like, no, we're not doing this anymore. We got bought out by a larger bakery company, and now all we would do is 5-pound bags. I'm like, well, I need 350 bags to do one batch on our system. So they don't do 50-pound bags anymore. So we're actually, the rye is going to be the hardest to emulate off their old recipe, because we can't get the same rye that they were using before from that bakery company, because you could get it 50-pound bags or 55-pound bags, but you can't get it now.
Right.
So it's going to be a challenge on the rye, but we'll do our best.
Lots of challenges these days for sure. All right, last one of the night. Let's taste it again. Final cheers. Cheers, gang.
Cheers.
Number 3 here.
Cheers, everyone.
Oh yeah.
Cherry on that.
Cherry.
Yep.
Yeah.
Deep cherry.
Deep
Dark cherry. Yep.
Yeah. With a citrus twist in there too. Yeah.
A little bit of orange.
Orange. Yeah. Yep. That is really good.
A little bit of honey.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Maybe some of that cherry
black
cola
cherry
taste
soda.
too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Black cherry soda.
Yep. I think that's definitely
You're
that.
making me want a black cherry soda now. Whoever keeps coming up with these soda references. This is very old school.
Right.
As I said, I'm an old guy, so I'm like, damn it. I won't.
Yeah. Yeah, dark cherry, like an old fashioned. I agree with Jeff. Someone told you, put this with some ice and put that twist in there. It'd be like, here's your old fashioned. You'd be like, yeah, I can see that.
You know what I really love on this is in a Manhattan, this really stands out. And you know how some Manhattans get diluted and watered down. You don't really taste that base flavor. This really sticks up in a classic Manhattan with the sweet vermouth and Angostura, or maybe orange bitters, or maybe both, and some cherries. And it's wonderful because it sticks in there. You know exactly what it is when you taste it. It stands out against one of these ones that will just blend in, and it's still good, but it's not great. This makes a great Manhattan.
What I'm seeing in the notes coming through is basically what I said earlier, saying like a lot of the flavor notes that are coming through with the bourbon are the same with the rye. That's why I go to, they're using the same barrels across the board. So there are some differences, but the differences are the base spirit, which is rye versus bourbon and everything else. So that's where, that comes into play. So, but yeah, the flavor notes everyone's popping up is totally there for sure.
Yeah. Very cool. Before we open it up to the audience for questions, I've got a couple more questions for you, Andy. Where can this thing go? What do you see this brand being? Is it just you want to get domination of your home state first and then expand out, or be a regional brand, be a national brand? What do you want?
As you know, so the Illinois Corn Marketing Board was here today. We won the Heartland Whiskey Competition, best in Illinois, for our Gold Zephyr, which you all have tasted here.
Yep.
And these are great guys. I'm on the Illinois Craft Distillers Association board with these people, but it's very Chicago centric. So anything outside of that sphere gets a little difficult. And I think what we decided was, hey, you've got to own your own hometown, number one,
right,
and then work concentrically outward.
Yep.
So it's Wisconsin, it's Tennessee, which is not concentric next to us, but I think it'll be Indiana.
It's there. It's at the tip. So Iowa, Missouri.
Yeah, Iowa.
We're looking to
Missouri. I think we're already down in southern Illinois. We need to get Missouri. I think these are that kind of geographic footprint provides some stability moving forward that we need. And when you're in one state, you're pretty much dead. You can't make it in one state. So you need really, it's about multi-state distribution. But you've got to have product to do that, which is why we released our gins and vodka. You've got to lean on some other clear spirits to get through this, and they're all terrific. But you just
Tim, we're working on it, by the way. I saw Tim's message about getting in Missouri. We're working on that.
I think the idea is we want to be in Missouri. I had an initial conversation with major brands. They were acquired by R&DC,
Right.
Or Breakthrough, pardon me.
Breakthrough. Yeah.
Which, kind of ended that conversation.
Yeah.
But,
Well, and Tim is alluding to the fact I'm opening the world's first single barrel only barrel shop. So literally it's only going to be the only products we're going to carry in terms of alcohol are barrels that we buy. So yeah, I'd love to talk to you about that, getting into Missouri. And it's neat.
No, I'd love your help on that, Steve. And Jeff.
I saw a Minnesota comment.
I'm from Minnesota, man. I'm from Edina, Minnesota.
Yeah.
So that is next. Actually, that is next on the list. It's Tennessee and Minnesota's next.
Well, we maybe need to flip flop that Missouri first. I need some barrels, man. We're like,
That'd be fun. It'd be fun to do. Let's
talk. Yeah, absolutely.
Let's talk about that because we're ready to roll. Bastard. I've heard that before. I'm from that.
So our latest ideation is so our Gold Zephyr is 4 and 5 year old, and we just launched. So it's certainly only for you guys, but we can get a couple bottles out to you guys as well. But we have our Black Zephyr, which is 6 and 7 year old.
Wow. Yeah.
And this is at 108 proof.
Nice.
So it's a very good product.
I'm sorry, we just couldn't. We didn't have it in time for this, but we would have.
We didn't have time.
Samples
It wasn't
of
ready for this.
This is delightful.
Yeah.
At 108 proof. We are going. You will get a sample bottle of this because it is incredible. And the color of it is so dark and caramely. It really is. We're so proud of it.
Excellent. Yeah.
But
we'll get that out to everybody. So yeah,
we were thinking over oak, but it didn't. It turned out really incredible.
Yep, turned out great. Yep.
Nice. Any online partners yet? Now that's a big thing these days. Because we do even on this event have people from all over.
That's a tough question for Illinois. Andy can go into it.
Man, we've worked on it. I've got Speakeasy that we're partners with. We haven't launched it yet. It costs money to have deposits and all this. You just got kind of pushed to the back burner.
Yeah.
We unfortunately cannot ship like Kentucky. The Illinois Craft Distillers Association is working hard. And again, I'm on a board there. Our top priority is direct to consumer shipping, just like Kentucky. So we've been working with Kentucky to try to
mirror what they've got.
Yeah. A legislative agenda that includes, I'm not sure what I would call it other than the Amazonization of.
We're asking for to help guide us into pushing this to our legislature.
Yeah, where people say, I can't believe you can't do that. Where it will get to the point where it's going to be the norm. It's dominoes falling. There have been Kentucky and a couple other states. So I'm really hoping we can get into a situation where we can ship to consumers in other states. If we are unable to do that, we need to expand our distribution footprint.
Yeah.
Same conundrum.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is a conundrum, but I think you're doing the right thing by expanding out and getting it to more people. And long term, hopefully that's something that's on the docket and can happen. So, all right. On that note, let's open it up. Feel free to open up your microphones. And if you have any questions for Andy or Jeff or both, now's the time to ask away.
I'm an Aquarius. Oh, someone's got a coin there. Nice,
Okay.
Jeff.
I've got my one piece of J.K. Williams swag.
Thank you, Jeff.
Mm.
I'm an Aquarius. I like long walks on the beach, moonlight.
What's up?
Ask questions all you want. Let's go from there.
All right. And they're open to anything. What do you guys got?
So where'd you come up with the names of the different varieties there?
This was just, honestly, it was just, my son is in the live music business and they were shut down during COVID. And he goes, let me take a shot at your labels. And it's someone not from the industry. And so we took a shot at kind of something a little different. And I'm really happy with it. The brand wizards might say, it doesn't all flow together, but I really do think I'm really proud of it. Everything was kind of elemental, and everything we've done has been kind of local too, with a nod to the past. That has been our goal, to highlight the history of Peoria. And again, Jeff said it earlier, but it's not Faris Distillery, it's not Murphy Distillery, it's J.K. Williams. It's not. One thing I want to say very clearly: we take our spirits really seriously, but we do not take ourselves very seriously. And it's really important. It's really important to understand that, because some guys take themselves very seriously in the distilling world, and we just don't. We just take our spirits very distiller. So.
Yeah.
So is Zephyr a train reference? I mean, there's a lot of.
No, actually, Zephyr was an elemental reference to gentle winds from the west over the wheat fields, which should have been cornfields, but anyway, it's a minor. But someone said, Zephyr is like the trains. We're always all called the Zephyr.
Yeah.
And so it's been funny. People have been like, the Zephyr, it's a train. Like,
Oh, the train
it's like
too. It's
gentle breeze from the west over the fields. Anyway.
And I think it's working, because when initially we were, the sign up was for J.K. Williams, it didn't trigger that we got to drink with you all last year with the flagship. But when I saw the sample come through Gold Zephyr, I was like, oh yeah, we had them.
Yep.
And so, has anything actually changed since that one, or is it any older or any different as far as the actual product itself?
That's the Black Zephyr. So the Black Zephyr is the 6 and 7 year old.
Okay.
So Black is that we came out with the bridge since we were on with you last time. We'll have something new. We came out with our gins. Jeff did an amazing job with our grapefruit flavored gin. I worked in the UK I didn't live there, but I worked for a UK company, and I love the grapefruit gin. They're gin freaks over there. And I said, we need to do a grapefruit gin. And Jeff came up with the perfect blend of grapefruit gin and all natural flavoring. And it's wonderful. It's a great summer drink on a hot day. I don't know anything better.
Yesterday, the 4th of July, it was great.
Yesterday we sold, I don't know how many cases we went through yesterday, but anyway, but my point is, you don't know. I try to keep an open mind to spirits, and Jeff and I have been, we keep a large stocked bar here privately and also at my home and at Jeff's home. But we like to try other people's spirits and find out what are they doing, what's new and what's cool. And I think, you don't have to reinvent the wheel to be the next, the Model T, the next Ford. I mean, whatever. You just say, that's a great idea. I want to take that and run with it and innovate from that. So that's what we've kind of thought about.
Mm-hmm.
You guys got to add Louisiana on the list, because the minor league ball team in New Orleans are the Zephyrs.
Yes,
They
they
can
are.
fly. Yeah.
I was in
Go
Iowa, Louisiana for 8 years. So
You live in New Orleans, Tim?
No, I live up northwest side of Chicago.
Okay, just checking. I didn't know. I grew up in New Orleans, so I was about 4 years old.
and when I say Iowa, Louisiana, they spell it like Iowa, but it's Iowa. down there. So, but yeah, I love my roots in New Orleans for rum, and it was a great product down there and great experience. And I'm going to do rum up here as well. So, like I said, when that new system gets here, I'm going to do rum on the small system and small batch rums and everything else. So, there's a lot of stuff we have ideas for. Even the next bridge series, like Andy was saying, I mean, we're going to do some secondary finishes, do some other things and stuff like that. So I think that, it's the important thing is that we're honest about what we're doing. If we're sourcing it, we're sourcing it. If it's a blend, it's a blend. So
The transparency is really important to the public, and maybe not everyone recognizes that, but the transparency, and I it's not like we borrowed it from Bardstown Bourbon, but I was inspired by Bardstown Bourbon to say, just put it on the label. What is it? Don't hoodwink the public. And I thought that was pretty cool, where you just say, this is percent from here, that's percentage from here.
And I said it wouldn't come up here without saying it's going to be,
Yeah.
up front. So
I think it's important to have an authentic brand that people can say, I know exactly what it is, and I don't care. Is it good? Great. Let's go with it. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
For us.
Andy, well, what does this mean for you? I mean, software, I mean, you made a living at it, but it can't be as exciting as this stuff is, right? I mean, this is fun. What you're doing now is just fun.
No, listen, this is different. This is a consumer brand.
Yeah.
What happened in the, kind of IT world, people were in there forever. If you worked for a big corporation in their IT department and you landed, if I, as someone landed a contract there, that's your customer forever until they retire.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of transiency that took place, and people started moving around. It became more and more. And so you would land an account and then it would go away because a new guy came in or a new gal. And so it just became a little bit of a treadmill.
Yeah.
And so, hey, we had a great run. I loved it, but I had a passion always from my days in the UK. We always had Scotch, and it shifted into bourbon. And that's where this all started. I just started to say, this bourbon thing is a cool deal. I love it. And so that's where this started.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah. I'm a recovering corporate guy as well. So so yeah. Any other questions? Any questions?
Just a comment. We went back to the weeder, had a little bit of the wheat left, and that's opened up a ton. And that's just beautiful.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Dave, what I was going to say was, if you go back to the rye after about 15 minutes and just kind of have that maybe as your last sip or maybe whatever. But
that was the plan.
Actually, I love the rye really opens up into something much different than you're going to taste the first time.
Yeah.
And actually has a different nose the second time after it has a little air in there. I think this is what's cool about whiskey is that this is
It evolves.
cool.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Anything else? Well, let's hear a nice round of applause for Andy Faris and Jeff Murphy from J.K. Williams out of Peoria, Illinois. Great job and a lot of fun and some great whiskey, and really kicked off the series on a high note. So we really appreciate it, guys.
thank you.
Yeah, this was good stuff. So on that note, of course, we do record this. So it's we're going to go ahead and turn off the recorder. I'll stick around, hang out, talk whiskey, anything you like. Jeff and Andy, you guys can stick around if you like. If you got to go, we understand. We like to keep it to our time commitments, but I'll be here. I'll be here hanging out. So
all right,
cool.
Sounds great, guys. Thank you so much,
Thanks,
everyone.
guys.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
Thank you.
Cheers.
All right.
Cheers to everyone.
Bye. Peace.